Kia ora koutou, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of the Council on the 28th of May. We'll get underway. We'll go, if you just note the emergency procedures on the screen, that'd be great. And if you've got your mobile phone, if you can make sure it's switched to silent. And a reminder just to use the microphone for those listening in online. We'll move to the karakia. Please feel free to join me. Whakatakata hau ki te uru, whakatakata hau ki te tonga, kia mā kina kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai, e hiaki ana te atakura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, ti hei, mauri ora. Thank you. Apologies. I've received an apology from Councillor Tupou and Councillor Barrett for lateness. And also we do have Councillor Shaw joined online for this meeting. So I'll just move apology for Councillor Tupou and apology for lateness for Councillor Barrett. Over seconder, Councillor Mitchell, any discussion?
Apologies also for Councillor Brown, 5 minutes late. Oh, she's here? When did you? Oh. Gee, you're fast.
Got on. Okay. Very good. Okay. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Public comment. We've got no members of the public who wish to speak. Okay. Moving through to the mayoral statement. So I just thought I'd have a brief opportunity to run down on a few things that have been happening as of late. As you'll all know, we completed our consultation and public submissions on our 10-year plan. I just want to formally acknowledge our community for taking the time to make their voices heard. We received a total of 1,770 submissions on our LTP, much greater than numbers received for previous long-term plan and annual plan consultations. This really does, I think, acknowledge the work that was done to engage people and to get their feedback, and also the interest that many of our residents have in matters which are important for our city. As you know, we've been deliberating on the submissions, and we'll be making some key decisions at our long-term plan annual plan subcommittee meeting next week. In April, we hosted a housing hui at the Dar South Museum. I know a number of you were able to attend that as well. We were joined by Iwi Housing Minister and Hutt South MP Chris Bishop, community housing providers and council partners were there to listen to an informative panel discussion and have an opportunity to connect, collaborate and share ideas. The event was about bringing together people who work day in, day out, ensuring our people have access to dry, warm, affordable homes in Lower Hutt. Having the opportunity to convene an important and powerful group of stakeholders that can have a huge impact on those in our community who are going through often tough times was a real privilege, and I know that there have been a number of follow-up conversations and potential initiatives from that as well. Also in April, we launched Māori Tupu, Planting for Our Future initiative. This is a community campaign to plant 114,000 native trees, plants and shrubs, one for every person in Te Awa Karangi ki tai. Now this roughly translates to recognising everything has the potential to grow and thrive, powered by the energy that flows through all things and sustained by our interaction and care of it. To date, there have been more than 30,000 natives planted across Lower Hutt since October 2022. Our crackdown on leaks. So in February, we included an extra $2.8 million in our draft 10-year plan, so Wellington Water could work to eliminate the current backlog of leaks by the end of the year. While that budget was allocated within the draft long-term plan, we've been dynamic in the way of managing that budget to enable Wellington Water to start to get on top of leaks as soon as possible. Before the crackdown was initiated with that additional funding, Lower Hutt had 839 leaks. We're now down to 442. We need to get down to below 100 leaks, which allows Wellington Water to be able to respond to lower level leaks within the current 20-day target KPI as well. While fixing leaks alone isn't going to solve our water challenges, we need to be doing everything we can to avoid acute water shortage in the short term. So some really good news there. and we'll certainly be having reports continue to come through to keep council informed on how that is tracking towards the end of the year. Okay, now I'll move through to a major item which is not on the agenda, and that is in terms of Standing Order 10.12, and that is council notes the matter of the submission on the local government amendment bill in regards to Māori awards was not listed on the agenda as the announcement was made after the agenda was distributed. And 2, agrees to discuss the matter at this meeting due to the urgency of the matter. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Briggs, any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Now you would have seen the paper copy which has been handed out of that report for you. Item 5, conflict of interest declarations. Do we have any members who wish to declare a conflict of interest? Councillor Parkin.
Kia ora, conflict of interest in the publicly excluded part of the meeting in terms of nominations.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Mitchell.
Yeah, just declaring a conflict of interest on item 7A, proposed changes within the dog control bylaw. I have a conflict there as chair of the local branch of Forest and Bird, which I have declared through the hearing process and the committee stage, and will sit out of that discussion as well today.
Thank you. Councillor Brown.
Standard conflict of interest with Urban Plus Limited.
Okay. Great. Moving through to item 6, which is committee minutes with recommended items. Item A, which is on page 12 of the agenda, and this is the traffic subcommittee from the 24th of April. I'd like to invite the chair of the traffic subcommittee, Councillor Shaw, to move the adoption of the balance of the minutes.
I move that the minutes of the Committee Iti Arawaka Traffic Subcommittee meeting held on the 24th of April 2024 be adopted. That's pages 12 to 16, with the exception of items 5A and 5B.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Dyer, any discussion? Those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Okay, now just with the balance of the items, was there any that members would like to discuss individually, or are we happy to take Councillor Shaw to move them as a block? No? Comfortable? Okay, so Councillor Shaw, are you happy to move the following items 5A and 5B together?
Yes, I do. I'd like to move the adoption of items 5A and 5B.
Second that. Deputy Mayor Lewis, any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Thank you, Councillor Shaw. Moving through to item B, which is the Communities, Culture and Partnerships Committee from the 1st of May on page 19. I'd like to invite Councillor Brown to move the adoption of the balance of the minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. That the minutes of Komiti Hapori Ahurea me ngā Rangipu Communities, Culture and Partnership Committee meeting held 1st of May be adopted, pages 19 to 30, with the exception of item 5.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Morgan, any discussion? Councillor Mitchell.
Yeah, just a question relating to the minutes, if I may. And it's to do with the paper around the private use of public land, leasing land to Arohanui Strings and the Nainai Boxing Academy, which I completely support. Our council supporting those two great organisations. In the minutes, it notes that the buildings will be purchased and maintained by those organisations, and it states that there's no implication on council and the leases would be drafted to ensure it remained the same. I just wondered what our standard lease clause is for the end of life of either the buildings or the organisations. I remember, I think exactly where Nainai Boxing Academy are proposing to go to when I first moved to Nainai. There was an old squash club sitting abandoned there and a scout hall around the corner on Nainai Park too. So what do our leases say about when either an organisation leaves a building or the building is no longer fit to be on our land?
Andrew? Yep.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Our leases are all slightly different. There's not consistency across all of them, but generally what they say around a building is if an organisation either abandons a building, if they're giving up the lease, they need to demolish the building. And if they aren't able to demolish the building, they need to return the land to, I'm trying to think what the phrase is, return it to the state it was in before we issued the lease. And so that means that we would require them to demolish the building. Often if people are going, they can't afford to demolish the building, and council has stepped in and demolished a building in those circumstances.
Okay, Councillor Briggs.
Just apologies for not declaring my conflict with the Nainai Boxing Academy earlier in the meeting. It can be noted I won't be participating today as I didn't in the committee as well.
We can note that. Yes, thanks. Okay, any other questions? No? Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those against no. Declare that carried. Councillor Brown.
And item 5 is the approval of the Arts and Culture Framework, page 21 of the agenda.
Cool.
And that's, yeah,
Yep.
no problem with that.
Seconder. Councillor Barrett. Any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. C, Policy, Finance and Strategy Committee from the 7th of May, page 44. So I'd like to invite Councillor Mitchell to move the adoption of the balance of the minutes.
I move that the minutes of the Committee Ratonga Rangatopu Me Te Rautaki, the Policy, Finance and Strategy Committee meeting held on 7th of May 2024 be adopted. That's pages 44 to 51 of your agendas with the exception of item 5.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Salinger, any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Councillor.
The outstanding item is actually the one I have a conflict
Yes.
on, so I'd like to maybe pass that over to Councillor
Councillor
Edwards, who
Edwards.
chaired the
Yep.
hearing.
Okay, what we'll do is just pursuant to Standing Order 10.4, I called precedence to item 7A, which is also under the miscellaneous items of this agenda. So I'll just move that. Seconder, Deputy Mayor Lewis. Discussion, all those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Councillor Edwards.
So we have a series of recommendations on page 47 that I'm happy to move, but I believe there's an update from Richard on this matter in terms of a map.
Yeah. If you'd like to come forward, Richard.
So you would like me to speak to the paper or just the map question? Oh, because there's a separate paper on proposed
Yeah, I
changes,
just realised that myself, yeah.
which is where the maps were included in that paper.
Dealing with the finance and policy paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, my apologies, yeah, I've got confused.
Apologies, we've gone forward to the miscellaneous report. So yes, yep. So we're dealing, so apologies, sorry, yep.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and kia ora koutou, councillors. So this paper is seeking final approval from the council to make changes within the dog control bylaw to include the new dog prohibition areas in the Eastern Bays. Just to remind you, this is to align with the resource consent conditions for Tupua Horonuku, which stipulate the need for bird protection. You'll be aware that there was public consultation between the 1st of February and 1st of March, and then on 7th of May, as we've just heard, the Hearings Committee made recommendations to the Policy, Finance and Strategy Committee, who approved the recommendations. One of the follow-up questions that we had as part of that was for officers to look into the possibility that in the Bishop Park Bird Protection Area that the yacht club might have access still to a small piece piece of land that they use for setting up their boats and launching them. I've just learned that officers have had that conversation and Greater Wellington Regional Council is happy for the yacht club to continue to use that area. It will still be part of the bird protection area under the maps, but they're able to use their boats on there. So that's the answer to that. And they're also meeting with Greater Wellington next week just to talk about how the fence might go into that area. One thing I did want to note is that we have identified a small discrepancy within the Fioro bird protection map that was published in the paper. It's on page 84 of your papers. The map inadvertently cut off the area at the north end of it was zoomed in a little too close, and it cut off the area at the north end of the bird protection area. So this is just to let you know that that is also included in there. And if council agrees, then we'll just implement these changes as part of the next steps.
Any questions? Councillor Parkin?
Kia ora, just regarding that map, looking at this, the current line of the bird protection area follows the path that is there, but the new additional piece of pink, you might want to bring it back up on screen, kind of hooks down as a finger and then actually doesn't follow the line of the path. So it includes a bit more than I think it possibly should be if the logic was to follow that path.
Do you mean at the top there? So we are working with the project group on the bird protection plan. This is what was outlined in an updated version of the bird protection plan. So we are making sure that everything is aligned with the current understanding before they go in and fence things off. So from our understanding, this is the correct version.
Any other questions? Councillor Dyer?
Yeah, just wanted to clarify the map with the Tupua Horanuku. This looks like it's overlapping quite a bit with the new shared pathway. Am I right in assuming that you can still go on the new shared pathway with dogs? Yep. So yeah, okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair, sorry, just to answer that with the microphone on, yes, that is correct.
Is it possible to update that map with the Tupua Horanuku map to make it really clear? Because if you went by this, you'd be walking your dog through a dog protection area.
We want to make sure that the maps are as accurate as possible, and so we will, before we publish the final versions, we will just make sure everything is completely lined up.
Councillor Parkin?
Sorry, follow up on that with the map that's on screen. If a person was to walk their dog along the section around that runs by the path that runs by 57 and then crosses the road, they would then be crossing the road into a dog protection area. So this does not follow logical. Does that does that make sense?
I'm not quite sure I understand you, but this is the map. This is as described in the bird protection plan. So I'm not sure where you're referring to.
Permission to hop up and describe.
I mean, I feel like this isn't the place to be working through these types of issues. I mean, if there's concerns, they should be raised prior to the meeting. But look, I don't want to.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Chair, this was only presented just then.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, officers, you should be getting this sooner to members because otherwise, yeah, they don't have the opportunity. So apologies. Do you want to go through your issue? Yep.
Sorry, I'll say that again so it's recorded. So if you walk up this path by 57, you're allowed to walk your dog through there. If you then cross the road, that path continues across that piece of road which then means you walk your dog through a bird protection area. That's not internally consistent.
Can I suggest that we take this particular map and make sure we've got it exactly as per the bird protection area?
Yeah. How about we table it for now, and if we can come back and sign this off, because I don't want to have to then bring this item back to another council meeting to sign it off. So, yeah, if we could just address that, and we'll come back to it at the end of the meeting. Okay. So we'll just leave this on the table for now. Okay. Moving through to item D, which is the Infrastructure and Regulatory Committee, page 52 of the agenda.
Not finishing off finance?
Yeah, Councillor Edwards.
Okay. I'd like to move that the minutes of the Komiti Hanganga Infrastructure and Regulatory Committee meeting held on 9th May 2024 be adopted. They're on pages 52 to 61, with the exception of item 5.
I have a seconder. Councillor Stallinger. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Councillor Woods.
Item 5 relates to the Intensification Acceleration Fund wastewater and stormwater works in the central city. It was subject to a very good workshop, so I'd like to move now. I've got to get to it. Recommendations on page 55.
Seconder for that. Councillor Dyer. Any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Okay, thank you. Moving through to item 7, which is miscellaneous items. So 7A, we're just holding for now, so we'll come back to that. Moving through to 7B, which is the proposed name for just a moment. Cool, thank you. Item 7B, which is the proposed name for Nainai Community Centre on page 86. I'd like to ask Andrea Blackshaw and Kanahi Butler Ali to speak to this item.
Kia ora tātou. This paper seeks Council's support for a name for the new Nainai Community Centre, which is Te Mako. This name has been proposed by the Community Advisory Group that's been working really closely with the project and acknowledges the Te Atiawa Rangatira Wirumu Tako Natata. And Kanahi is with us today if anybody would like to ask any questions about the connection or understand a bit more about the name. In line with our naming policy, we've sought support and received support from our mana whenua partners for this name, and also we have received support from a broader group of community who are connected to Team Nainai Trust, who will be the group operating the space. So we are proposing this name for approval today, and we're happy to take any questions.
Okay, is there any... Kanahi, would you like to say anything? And then we'll open it up for questions.
No, nothing else to add. Tēnā koutou.
Okay, any questions from members? No, great. Easy. Okay, well, we'll move through to the recommendation that Council approves the proposed name for the new Nainai Community Centre, Te Mako, Nainai Community Centre. I have a seconder for that. Okay. Oh, it's 2 hands at the same time. Can you do a coin flip? I'll go Councillor, seconded by Councillor Mitchell. Okay, I'll open up to the floor. Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you. I would just briefly like to speak to this one and certainly to acknowledge the Whakatupu Nainai Community Advisory Group, which I serve on alongside many other members of the community for their unanimous endorsement of this name, and also Team Nainai, as mentioned, who will be operating the centre for their endorsement of this name. This name may be familiar to some. It was a name that was offered to Hutt City Council for the Walter Nash Centre when it was built up in Taita. I was living in the Nainai at the time and wondered why there was so much controversy about a name that belonged in Nainai in the first place. Te Mako, the pa, was much closer to Nainai railway station than it was to Taita, even though Nainai was originally part of the broader Taita area. So yeah, we discussed as a advisory group over the last few years how we had these new things coming to Nainai, a new pool and community centre, and how we would seek names to be gifted by our mana whenua, and when those names were offered as gifts, we would receive them with open arms and open hearts. So the name of the pool has been gifted by mana whenua. It's such top secret that I'm yet to find out what it is, but that name will be accepted graciously by the Nainai community. And we found ourselves on fairly short notice being asked to come up with a name for the community centre ourselves. So we looked to that name, Te Mako, and its relevance to Nainai. And as I said in the blessing the other day of the centre, it's a name that grounds that centre in the very long history of Nainai. So we're very proud to have that name for our new community centre in Nainai. Kia ora.
Thank you, Councillor. Well said. Councillor Briggs and Councillor Stallinger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to support the words of Councillor Mitchell, and I also want to acknowledge a little bit of the history as well, and acknowledge the mamai, the hurt that was there when the name was first put forward and gifted by Atiawa. I was actually there as a member of the public at that meeting, and I could visually see the hurt, but also the grace of everyone that submitted in support of the name at the time. But also just the willingness now of our mana whenua partners to trust us, to come to the table and put forward names that would be welcomed and open and supported by the community as well as us as council. Just want to acknowledge our mana whenua partners at this time. Kia ora koutou.
Councillor Stallinger.
I won't attempt to repeat it, but I just endorse the comments of Councillor Briggs and Mitchell.
Any other comments? I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Great stuff. Okay, moving through to item C, which is the update on the scope and delivery of the representation review on page 89 of the agenda. Jared, are you able to pick this item up just with Richard looking to work through the other issues? Actually, here comes Richard now. Okay, no problem. Thanks, Richard.
Kia ora koutou, and apologies for the delay. So this purpose of this paper is to give you a brief update on the Council's representation review following the announcement of amendments to the Local Electoral Act 2001 that are currently making their way through the House. The independent panel has ended its comprehensive engagement process and is now writing up its report and initial proposal. The panel is on track to present the proposal to Council on the 27th of June. As per Council's decision in November 2023, the proposal will include the provision for Māori wards. And in line with the proposal, the proposed amendments to the Electoral Act, this means that we will likely need to include a poll on Māori wards as part of the 2025 elections. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard. Any questions from Richard's report? No? Okay. So we've got our recommendations here on page 89, and they are receiving and noting recommendations. As outlined. So I'll move them 1 through to 6. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Brown, any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Okay, now moving through to our major item, which was not on the agenda. And this report has been tabled to you. And as outlined, the purpose of this report is for Council to consider approving the joint submission with Mana Whenua on the local government amendment bill with regards to Māori wards. So is there any, Richard, were you wanting to comment, make any comment? No. Has everyone had a chance to look through the report, or do you want to take a couple of minutes? No? Okay. Is there any questions? First off. No questions? Next, just moving through to the actual content of the submission itself. So we've got a couple of options. We can either approve it as is, take any amendments now if they're straightforward, or look to delegate to a smaller group for any feedback from councillors to then sign off before the deadline, I believe tomorrow midnight.
Yeah, if I could just clarify, Mr. Mayor, the deadline is tomorrow midnight, and this submission has been completed with the endorsement of our Mana Whenua partners.
Yeah, so we certainly wouldn't want to be looking at wholesale changes to be able to make that deadline. So if we're quite comfortable with what's here, then that's the main guidance. Would be good to get now. Deputy Mayor Lewis.
Thank you. Can I just ask a question around process? Like, I'd like to know the submission period, was it the normal time, and then what's the process after it's heard in the House?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So submissions opened on last Friday and close on Wednesday at just before midnight. So very, very short submission period. And once it's gone through and been heard by the select committee, submissions, then it will go through to the House for second reading and then on through third reading, likely under urgency.
Councillor Mitchell.
Just a question, I guess, for you, Mayor Barry. And thank you for officers for giving us the opportunity to feed into this submission. I'm noting too that it's a joint submission, very happy to approve what the various parties have drafted in here. I do intend to submit on this bill as an individual, and I just question whether it was appropriate to do so as a Hutt City Councillor, or if Council would prefer that to be an individual submission.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I know there is a couple of other members who have looked to make their own submissions. My thoughts are is that as long as you make it clear that it is your view and you're submitting and you are a Hutt City Councillor, I don't necessarily have an issue with that. I think it's just been really clear with the committee who's hearing that it's not necessarily the view of the council. But I don't think you need to, I don't think you need to pretend as if you're not a councillor. Yeah, is that fair? Yep. So I think Councillor Edwards, did you? Yep.
Sorry, I was just going to say I hope not, because I've already sent mine in under a councillor name.
As a councillor. Yep.
Thank you. I was going to say I hope not, because I've sent mine as well. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So I've got no issue with saying that you're a councillor, present in that way, but just be really clear in any comments you make that that's not necessarily the view, because I'm not quite sure what those say. I'm sure it's pretty consistent, but yeah. Okay. Councillor Mitchell.
Just one thing, and I haven't had a chance to read this submission in full, but just noting it does point out there that our council will have to hold a binding poll in the 2025 election on the question of continuing to having Māori wards. I think it's worth noting that we will have to do that alongside electing our city's first Māori ward councillor. It's quite a strange position that we've been put in that regard, and I think it's worth noting that in the submission.
Yep. Okay. No, I think we can add that in, and I don't think that should be pretty straightforward, Richard, to check in with our Mana Whenua partners who have. Yep. Kanahi, did you want to comment on that and that particular edition, or anything else from particularly from a Mana Whenua perspective?
Nothing to add. Kia ora.
Okay. Councillor Dyer?
Yeah, just one minor thing from me. The submission starts saying we raise our objections and concerns to the bill. The bill proposes two things. I wonder if it's just worth making it really clear that we have no view on the extension to the voting period. Our thoughts really are around the binding poll in the Maori ward. So the submission says we raise our concerns and objection to the bill, but acknowledging the bill does have two parts to it, and it's only one part that we are objecting to, I assume, unless we have a view on the voting period changing, which I don't think we do, just to make it really clear that we are objecting to that part of it.
I mean, we can do that. I mean, it does have that paragraph specifically we were asking the Justice Committee too, in regards to what we're sort of submitting on, but yeah. Richard, any comments on that?
The paper that we've got supporting this does make it clear that we don't have any objection to the other amendment. Pointing it out here is something that we could do, although it would probably be taken as read, Mr. Mayor, as understood. So I'm not sure if we need to, it could be seen as detracting from the overall emphasis of what we are concerned with.
So your suggestion there, sorry, Richard, just to...
Sorry, so my suggestion is that while it's noted that the point is noted, my suggestion is that we don't need to reference it, we shouldn't reference it in here in order to stay focused on what we are concerned about.
Yep, happy with that. Okay, cool. Anything else? Okay, so what we'll do with that addition from Councillor Mitchell is we will move the recommendations 1 through to 6. Yes, yep. So 1 through to 6, and 6 will just we'll add in with the addition of some words there. With the addition of pointing out that Hutt City Council will be in the position of holding a referendum while also electing our first Māori ward councillor. Difficult position of, yep. So we'll get the words right, but that basically captures it. So I'll move 1 through to 6. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Brown, any discussion? Councillor Mitchell, then Councillor Brown.
Thank you. Firstly, just to briefly speak to that addition, I've heard a lot of kōrero from council areas where councils have recently introduced Māori ward councillors, but did so in time for the last election. And we heard actually in our discussion in November from our regional council about the benefit that Māori ward councillors have been bringing to councillors around the motu. And unfortunately, our voters won't see the benefit of Māori ward councillors before deciding if they want to continue with them or not. It's just such a strange position for the government to have put us in. More broadly, I just wanted to speak about Māori wards and this bill, because like it or not, our government has set up Māori wards to be a political issue for us in next year's election, as it has been already in this term of government. And personally, I feel that opposition to Māori wards, from what I've seen and heard from people who speak to their opposition, it's quite often based on fear and misinformation. And, you know, I think one message I would have for anyone who doesn't support Māori wards in principle or with their votes, either at this table or, you know, in any future referendum, if you're afraid of a strong Māori voice at this council table, I commend to everybody to go back onto Facebook and watch the video of our meeting, policy committee meeting of last November, when we heard from many strong Māori voices at this table, including from mana whenua who are actually entitled to come to this table and speak at any meeting, but also from our broader Māori community in Lower Hutt. And overwhelmingly, what we heard was a desire for direct representation at this table by Māori, for Māori, as Māori. And secondly, a want from Māori to be involved in determining the future of our city for the benefit of all residents of Lower Hutt, all of our tamariki, all of our mokopuna, all of our future generations. So I challenge people to examine what it is that they fear from the introduction of Māori wards. Just finally, to speak to the fact that this bill is drafted and open for submission, and one of the reasons people have expressed to us that they didn't support Māori wards, and to be fair, most of that voice came from outside our city, but it's something that gets brought up fairly regularly as a perceived statistical unfairness around this plus or minus 10% rule that is in the formation of wards. And I would just point out to everybody, and hopefully people are listening, this amendment to the Local Electoral Act is actually the government's opportunity to correct that statistical unfairness. If that's what you feel, and that's what you would like to see happen, like many other things, don't wait a year and come and complain to our council about it being unfair. This is your big chance to submit to the government, who have made no attempt to correct that statistical unfairness. If you feel it's statistically unfair, have them change the law now, rather than using that as an excuse in a year's time for why you don't support Māori wards. This is the opportunity for the government to make this law fair. I think many people feel that this proposed bill makes it less fair. If you want to see a fair and equitable electoral system, now is your opportunity to tell the government that's what's proposed isn't fair. Thank you.
Councillor Brown.
Kia ora, thank you for that. I support this and want to thank the individual councillors who have also submitted, and the irony of our submissions are going to the Justice Committee, who is in charge of our laws and our rules. The irony is not lost on me that our previous item was talking about the rules and the review around other wards, which is community boards and others that sit within those rules. And here is one item that's been picked out, and we are having to plead with a Justice Committee just to apply the rules as we have them in our land now. We know under Te Tiriti, under the Waitangi Tribunal, they've been breached, but because it doesn't have a mandate, statutory mandate, and items such as the 10%, the 5% for a petition, when the law now under the referenda of citizens referenda is 10%. Why are we changing this law to bring it down to 5%, which in any quantum it doesn't reflect Aotearoa? And so rules are being changed and laws are being changed without any rational background to the rule. And these wards are not for every council. This is for a council to choose, a local council and a local community to choose what's best that represents their people. I'm not in a Māori ward, I'm a general ward. When I campaign, I must campaign generally. So I walk in two worlds, in general and Te Ao Māori. I certainly cannot campaign as Te Ao Māori, or I will not get elected. So there's quite the difference between general and having us choosing to have a Māori ward, so that representative can walk in Te Ao Māori world and represent people who wish to be represented as our partners in a Te Ao Māori framework. That's why we need Māori wards if communities choose to have them. So I again thank you, councillors, for supporting this item.
Okay, any other comments? The only final thing I would say, and that I should have just checked, is that we do have the option to submit this in person or orally, and whether we would like to do that. It does clash with a meeting that I've got, so I could look to try and make that time, but I'm just checking if there would be others willing to submit this on behalf of the council if I can't do that. Yes, okay, so yep, so we can say that we will, great. So we don't need to have an additional rec on that. Councillor Mitchell? Yep.
Yeah, just noting again that it is a joint submission, so if we were to submit, hopefully our mana whenua partners would join us at that table too.
Yep, point absolutely right. So we would check to see who can join us and make a time. Okay. So all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those against no. Declare that carried. Moving on to item D, which is the reappointment of directors for Urban Plus, and this report is pretty self-explanatory. Is there any questions for Brad, who's going to cover this? No questions? Yep, so Deputy Mayor Lewis just declares a conflict on this paper, so won't partake. Okay, no. Oh, sorry, no, sorry. Yeah, that's for Seaview and Councillor Brown for UPR. Yep. Okay, no, if there's no questions, then I will move to the recommendations, which is 1 through to 5. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Briggs, any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Moving on to item E, which is the Local Government Conference, and that is on page 97. Again, I think pretty self-explanatory. We have Hamish here to answer any questions if you've got them. Basically, recommendation 4 has myself, Deputy Mayor, and councillors. We haven't got any names recommended here to attend. Those, if you aren't named to attend, particularly given it's in Wellington, I would encourage you to consider, and you are allowed to use your own individual training budget to attend, particularly given you don't have to worry about flights and accommodation costs as well. So it is a good opportunity when the conference is close to home to be able to get the benefit from that. Okay. Now, so we've got the recommendations before us. Now, is there any expressions of interest from councillors who would like to attend? Yeah, Councillor Barrett, Councillor Morgan, Councillor Parkin, Councillor Dyer, Councillor Brown. So basically my thinking prior, and apologies for not getting an email out, is we would look to prioritise those who haven't been before. So I believe, who hasn't been before? Councillor Dyer, have you?
I went to one day in Christchurch.
Okay, and Councillor Barrett, I know you've been previous years. Okay, and Deputy Mayor Lewis, were you wanting to attend as well?
I'll be going to Te Maruata, so happy for other councillors to go to this one since it's local, yeah.
So to Te Maruata, but I suppose just one option there is if you were not down to attend the whole conference, that could free it up for the 3 councillors.
Happy for that to happen.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. So that would be Councillor Morgan, Councillor Parkin, Councillor Dyer. You have was that paid for by council?
I attended the gala last Christchurch, didn't attend the conference because I was in Christchurch anyway and covered my own flights. Okay. So
Yep. Sorry, Councillor Edwards, do you have a? No, Councillor Morgan.
So I'm not quite sure how this works, but I'm really happy to use my training budget. I'm absolutely fine, so other people can go. If there's, I'm not sure how that works. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's a new financial year, so there is training budget available for anybody who wants to use it. I think that's right, Hamish. We had a,
That's correct. We'll use your training budget next year.
Okay. Well, what we'll do then is, so myself, councillors, okay, well, rather than name, it will be, so we've got Councillor Parkin, Councillor Morgan, Councillor Dyer, Councillor Barrett expressed interest, and then we will take that away and just work out the best way to make it work, okay? So we've got those 4 councillors, just acknowledging that only 2 or 3 maximum would be down as the council attendees, and then others would then have to use their training budget. But we can work through that rather than try and, I don't want to choose at the meeting on the hoof. Okay, so we're comfortable with that?
I know he's not here, but we've also got Councillor Tupou as well.
He did attend last year in
Oh, he did,
Christchurch.
okay.
Yeah, though he was locked down with COVID. Sorry. Wasn't a council rep, but he did attend though as a again. Oh, sorry, Councillor Shaw. Have I missed you this whole time?
No.
That's great.
No, I'm just signalling my intention to attend Te Maruata Hui on the day before.
Okay, no, great. Okay, yep, Councillor Brown. Yep. Okay, we'll work that out. Okay, so I'll move the recommendations, noting that 1 through to 4. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Briggs, any discussion? Councillor Mitchell.
Yeah, just briefly, I didn't put my hand up earlier because, as noted in the paper, Councillor Briggs and I went to last year's conference as our council's representatives. So I'd just like to thank everybody for sending me along last year, and certainly to endorse the conference to anyone who is considering going. It's local to us, but easy for us to attend. I learned a lot. I was in my 4th year of being in a councillor, but I learned a lot and made some great connections there too, which I think probably beneficial to our council and hopefully to others, some of the people I met and some of the things we discussed. So I do intend attending the conference this year under my own means, but certainly would recommend everybody get along to whatever they can of that conference program. It's an excellent event.
Yeah, no, certainly echo those words, Councillor Mitchell. And just to be really clear, that if you haven't put your hand up now, and again, if you are wanting to attend from your own budget, that is your own decision. That's been the case for a number of years now. So, yep. Okay, great. All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Item F, which is update to elected member appointments. This is pretty self-explanatory as well, so it's just the 2 recommendations. I'll move those. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Barrett. Any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Item 8, which is council minutes, and we have the council minutes from the 27th of March and 6th of May and 10th of May. Is there any questions on the correctness of those minutes? No. I'll move them. Seconder, Councillor Mitchell. All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Item 9, committee minutes without recommended items. We've got the Wellington Water Committee on page 142, so I'll move them. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Briggs. Any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Long-term plan, annual plan, subcommittee, 27th of March, page 153. I'll move them. Councillor Briggs, second. All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Climate Change and Sustainability Committee, Councillor Briggs, page 160.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I move that the minutes of Committee Kaupapa Taio, the Climate Change and Sustainability Committee meeting held on 23 April 2024 be adopted.
Second, Councillor Parkin. Any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Ordinary Risk Subcommittee, I'll move the minutes from the meeting held on the 30th of April, seconded by Councillor Salinger. Any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. District Plan Review Committee from the 2nd of May. Councillor Dyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move that the minutes of the Community Arataki Mahiri Rohi, the District Plan Review Committee held on the 2nd of May be adopted. These are pages 173 to 178.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Those against no, declare that carried. Hutt Valley Services Committee, Councillor Stellinger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the minutes of Komiti Ratonga o Te Awa Kairangi, the Hutt Valley Services Committee meeting held on the 3rd of May 2024 be received and noted. They're on pages 179 to 184.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Dyer. Any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Those against no, declare that carried. Item 10, Sealing Authority. So I'll move recommendations 1 through to 3. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Dyer. All those in favour say aye. Those against no, declare that carried. Questions? I've received no questions. 12, we now could move to exclusion of the pub. Sorry. Yes. Back to our map. Thanks. All sorted now? Okay, Richard, thanks.
So just to update you, councillors, the area around the Fiora Reserve is one that Greater Wellington Regional Council and the project are currently working out to try and get the best outcome for getting the pathway, shared pathway through, enabling people to walk their dogs through while also having the bird protection area as defined in the bird protection plan. The map that we had in front of you is what we understood at the time to be the best available one. We have now seen a version of the map which Greater Wellington Regional Council has is supporting, which allows the pathway to follow the wall that's been built around the side of the road and then to cross into an area and out through at the top end of the reserve. In terms of how we align this with our dog control policy and the maps that are included in there, I think I've been talking with Brad and we've got a potential solution, Brad.
Your Worship, yeah, it's a little bit tricky given that construction of the shared path hasn't happened, so you can't actually show the where the shared path is in relation to the area. So I think at the moment we could produce these maps and know that this is the area, but we also know we have a clear intention that people can walk their dogs along the shared path on leads, and so through signage you can just delineate exactly where you can and can't walk your dog. And obviously, practically, our dog control officers aren't going to be out there enforcing anything on the path. So I think we just have to realise that it's a little bit hard to show a future type path running through there at this stage on these maps. We do have that future path in front of us so we can see the intention of the end state, but at the moment, that sort of seems like the best solution.
Okay, happy with that? Yep. So any particular recommendation you need from us, or you can just take that away?
I think we're okay. Thank you.
Great. So I'll move the recommendations as outlined in 7A, 1 through to 9, seconded by Councillor Briggs. Any discussion? No, just to say my thanks to the committee led by Councillor Edwards in working through these matters. I think it was quite a tricky task and I think that you've done a really good job. So really appreciate the work of yourselves and obviously the officials in supporting you with that decision, those decisions. All those in favour say aye. Those against no, declare that carried. Okay, we now move to exclusion of the public, item 12, which I will move that the public be excluded from the following parts of this meeting. Items 1, committee minutes without recommended items. Item 2, civic honours awards. And item 3, council minutes. Do I have a seconder? Deputy Mayor Lewis, any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Those against no, declare that carried. I'll declare the public part of the meeting closed at 3:01 p.m. and we'll take a 5-minute break and come back. Thanks.